You know what's the most dangerous weapon? Intelligence. Most dangerous weapon in the world. So, based off the answer of President Trump.
Thank you, Mr. President. How do you think that the Supreme Court's ruling that benefited you on presidential immunity would apply to former President Barack Obama and what you're accusing him of doing?
It probably helps him a lot. Probably helps him a lot, the immunity ruling. But it doesn't help the people around him at all. But it probably helps him a lot. He's done criminal acts. There's no question about it. But he has immunity, and it probably helps him a lot.
Trade agreement you're looking to sign too.
He owes me big. Obama owes me big.
What are the...
I'm guessing the memo went out to the right, because I've been hearing this the last couple of days, and it's been baffling me. That Obama has this, presidential immunity from sedition and treason. And I'm hearing people like Clay Travers, who I called today. But, some people just don't like intelligence greater than theirs. Get what I'm saying? So, I sat on hold, waited. Used to do it with Rush, you know what I'm saying? But it was definitely worth it with Rush. But, I couldn't get through. I wanted to make a point. Sedition and treason is considered a high crime and misdemeanor. It's under that category in our Constitution. So when you hear all these smart people behind microphones, like Clay, carrying this water of Obama has this presidential immunity because of Scottish ruling, I think everybody should ask themselves, well, how is that possible? So what are we saying now? Every president, no matter what they do while in office, isn't criminal? There's no more impeachment? Because that's basically what people like Clay are saying, and many others who are saying Obama can't be prosecuted because of the Scottish ruling. Well, if creating false intelligence from a foreign adversary like Russia to undermine a current, it actually has undermined this current administration still to this day. But when Obama decided to do this after Trump won, not before, after. Remember, before Trump won, President Obama said this.
Every expert, regardless of political party, regardless of ideology, conservative or liberal, who has ever examined these issues in a serious way will tell you that instances of significant voter fraud are not to be found, that, keep in mind, elections are run by state and local officials, which means that there are places like Florida, for example, where you've got a Republican governor who's a Republican appointees are going to be running and monitoring a whole bunch of these election sites. The notion that somehow if Mr. Trump loses Florida, it's because of those people that you have to watch out for, that is both irresponsible and, by the way, doesn't really show the kind of leadership and toughness that you'd want out of a president. If you start whining before the game's even over, if whenever things are going badly for you and you lose, you start blaming somebody else, then you don't have what it takes to be in this job. But the larger point that I want to emphasize here is that there is no serious person out there who would suggest somehow that you could even rig America's elections, in part because they're so decentralized and the numbers of votes involved. There's no evidence that that has happened in the past or that there are instances in which that will happen this time. And so I'd advise Mr. Trump to stop whining and go try to make his case to get votes.
But after Trump won, Obama went back to the IC, the intelligence community, and said, change this narrative. This is not going to work.
We look at what's at stake tonight on Washington Week.
What I can tell you is that the intelligence that I've seen gives me great confidence in their assessment that the Russians carried out this hack.
The president vows to take some kind of action against Russia after American intelligence directly links Vladimir Putin to cyber attacks on government agencies and the DNC. Donald Trump calls the reports ridiculous, accusing the White House of complaining about the hacking only after Hillary Clinton lost.
President Obama holding his traditional end-of-year press conference today before heading to Hawaii for Christmas. It comes as the White House and President-elect Trump are now in a heated exchange over Russia's apparent involvement in the 2016 election.
Based on uniform intelligence assessments, the Russians were responsible for hacking the DNC. That shouldn't be a partisan issue.
There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't. The report that we released today shows in great detail how they carried this out. They manufactured findings from shoddy sources. They suppressed evidence and credible intelligence that disproved their false claims. They disobeyed traditional tradecraft intelligence community standards and withheld the truth from the American people. In doing so, they conspired to subvert the will of the American people who elected Donald Trump in that election in November of 2016. They worked with their partners in the media to promote this lie, ultimately to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump and launching what would be a years-long coup against him and his administration.
And this is how the whole Russia collusion came about. But according to the smart people, he's protected from doing that because he did it while he was president. Does that make sense to you? I mean, you don't have to be a genius. You don't even have to be a legal beagle. Essentially, what the smart people are saying, they're saying that because of the Scottish presidential immunity ruling, there's no more impeachment of a president. They could do whatever the fuck they want while they're in office, and nobody can do shit about it. Not even Congress through impeachment. And after they get out of office, if they're actually impeached and removed, they can't even be prosecuted criminally for it. That's what all the smart people are saying now. Isn't that something? Does that make sense to you? Because it doesn't to me. So here's what I think happened. I think the sage of South Central, Larry Elder, I think he was right. Obama's not sweating this because Obama knows it'll really cause an uproar in the country. So it bothers me to say this, but I guess Trump and his advisors came to the same conclusion that, look, let's focus on Brennan, Clapper, Comey, possibly Hillary, Andrew McCabe, anybody other than Obama, to avoid the possible civil unrest it could cause. That's what I think is going on right now. And does it bother me? Hell yeah, it does. Because and I'm trying not to let it bother me. But, and I know it's bothering Trump because Trump, after everything this man has gone through because of Obama and his fucking minions over the last 10 years, and the foundation of everything he went through was Russia collusion, which was a hoax created by Obama on the way out the door. I know he's fucking pissed. But he has to make a calculated decision. Now, will people be okay with that calculated decision? I guess we'll find out in the midterms. But let's wait and see. Let's see what the DOJ does. Listen, maybe they'll file charges. Maybe they'll try to indict. I mean, we know there's no jury in the District of Columbia is going to convict Obama of anything. I mean, short of him like caught on video, you know, killing somebody on Fifth Avenue. I mean, if they at least follow through, people will be okay with it. No follow through, people won't be okay with this. President Obama does not have presidential immunity from sedition and treason while in office. Because essentially that's what he did when he empowered Russia, a foreign adversary. That's what he did when he hindered the foreign policy of the first term of President Donald J. Trump. Now, Trump was no pushover with Russia. Trump killed 200 plus Russian mercenaries in Syria. But it was always a cloud over his administration, which hindered his administration. And it's still hindering him to this day. Any and everything you hear about Trump and Russia collusion, is all bullshit. Because it all comes from what Obama did with the fake Russia collusion hoax. That's the only way to keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, I know. I got the message that Krista Gall was using that today during his show. I got the message. I didn't say anything about it. Yeah, I know. I know. He was on my page. He saw me say it in the comments regarding my post about what I'm talking about right now. And towards the end of his show, he couldn't help himself. So he had to say, keep it simple, stupid. That's it. What do you want me to tell you about the guy? What do you want me to tell you about him?
Barack Obama directed U.S. intel to manufacture false evidence of Russian interference in the 2016 election to undermine and spy on Trump's campaign and presidency. It's that easy. And we need everyone's attention to prevent things like this in the future, helping Democrats and Never Trump voters actually see what all of this is about and safeguard democracy for all of us in the future. To do that, you got to keep it simple, stupid. The KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid.
But back to what I was saying. I think all the big mouths behind microphones right now pushing this preconceived notion of Obama has presidential immunity, you're doing a great disservice. Great disservice. There's nothing worse than intellectual dishonesty. Nothing worse than it. So let me say this again. Obama has presidential immunity from committing sedition and treason because of the Scottish ruling on presidential immunity. But he wouldn't have that immunity if he was president, right? Because if a sitting president commits sedition and treason, they can be impeached, right? And removed from office, right? Then possibly charged as a citizen, private citizen, with sedition and treason, right? Just keeping it simple, stupid, folks.